Something's coming. Something we may not be able to deter. Before this day is done, we shall be faced with an unthinkable decision.
Welcome back to Marvel Maniac and MCU Aftershow. This is Eric Cicada, your host, aka Mr. Honest, back with you to talk more about the Avengers Doomsday trailer. I put the audio at the beginning of Dr. Doom's first lines that we hear because I think they're so important in interpreting what the story of this movie can be and may be. I would say a spoiler warning because my predictions are so good. I'm really honestly just saying, just in case I get something right, you might be spoiled. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Just break down the trailer beat by beat, and starting with Dr. Doom's line, something's coming, something that we may not be able to deter. Before this day is done, we shall be faced with an unthinkable decision. So I watched an awesome Screen Crush discussion yesterday where Ryan Arey was breaking it down with a few of his people. By the way, go listen to, check out Screen Crush if you haven't heard of them. They're amazing. Ryan Arey has been on our 100th episode and our 201st episode. So hopefully we'll see him again for 300 or maybe earlier. But basically, my main thought here is an original theory that I want to place at the beginning before I go into anyone else's theories. And I don't have a list of other theories. Honestly, I have a few ideas. Like Paul from Heavy Spoilers has a pretty interesting thumbnail going around this morning. So I haven't watched the video, but I want to talk about that. Something about Steve Rogers and how he may not be what he seems. So Dr. Doom is telling us, as well as somebody, who would he be telling this to, that something big is coming and we must face unthinkable decisions. That sounds like he's rallying a group of people to come together because they're all burdened with the same choice of, what? Incursions, right? Incursions. My theory is small and it's simple, but it could be huge. I think that the incursions are the main villain of this movie. I think Avengers Doomsday, it's a misleading title. Doomsday could be a triumphant way that Dr. Doom could be the major hero in this story. And I don't believe that he's going to be the point B villain every time they're coming together and talking. Thor's whole speech in this trailer can simply be about incursions. Or it could be about Dr. Doom and how strong he is, and that fight with Thor, it is insane. It could be at the end of the movie. It could be at the beginning. However, from another perspective, we don't need to fully trust everything that's going to be shown to us in this trailer. They're going to show us what they want to show us, and I think more than ever, they're protecting the story in this trailer to just give us a little bit of a touch of a hint of what this thing's going to look like when some of these scenes may be altered. Some of these scenes might not even be in the movie itself. The reason I say maybe Dr. Doom is somewhat of a good guy in this movie, almost a little bit like Thanos thinking he's doing the right thing. I think it's going to be similar with Dr. Doom, except everyone in the MCU, especially the 616, is going to be panicking and not knowing anything about this onslaught of incursions and what they are and what they mean. And who better than to come in from another universe and warn them about the incursions than Dr. Doom himself? Who knows? Maybe Reed Richards and Dr. Doom from the universe of the Fantastic Four, maybe they know each other. Maybe they never became enemies. Maybe they're just on the same side and they know what an incursion is and they discover them together and they travel to Earth 616 because that's the next incursion point. So it's going to all take place in my theory ongoing, that it's going to be a day, Doomsday, a simple full day of insane action and the stake of our world or the X-Men's world, where it looks like they've been fighting off a lot of incursions. What motivations Doom has, what he's acting upon for whatever reason, is unknown. That's why the possibility that he could be trying to save the multiverse opposed to destroying everything and making Battle World like we'd all expect from the comics, I think there's a chance that he has some genuine intentions here to save what he can. And I don't know. I think at the end of the movie, it probably would be revealed anyway that he has some personal, maybe not so great intentions on which universe he's picking on saving. But I can see the Avengers rallying around somebody who knows what they're talking about. And with that confident accent, I actually am very scared by what he's saying if I'm hearing this as an Avenger. And before we even hear Doom speak in the trailer, we see Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters, the sign that we know oh so well from all the great X-Men movies. We've covered most of them here on the podcast. And I think that universe has been through hell. The way Professor Xavier looks outside and sees the red in the sky, the dead seriousness of Cyclops ripping his glasses off and just for the love of God, using all of his energy up against something. It seems like the incursions have been hitting Xavier's universe and they've been fighting them off. They may be run down from killing world after world. They may be a little desensitized, run down, and just in Doctor Strange fashion, in the greater, multiverse, this is a sacrifice that we need to make, and it's us or them mentality. The X-Men might have literally been doing things that they cannot think, the unthinkable, by destroying other universes to preserve their own. Now, maybe they end up destroying Dr. Doom's home universe. Maybe Steve Rogers, like we said before, time traveled at the end of Endgame and caused like 1 billion incursions. And maybe that's what starts it. But where it starts and where it brings us isn't the same thing. Before this day is done, we must be faced with an unthinkable decision. We see Dr. Doom on his knees, slowly looking up. It's just such a great reveal shot of him, man. He looks cool. He sounds cool. I'm all for it. Now, they put a lot of emphasis on the unthinkable decision. They put a lot of emphasis on showing Doom at the beginning as he's saying this. I mean, this doesn't sound like a guy who's trying to threaten people. It sounds like a guy who's burdened with a task that feels and looks impossible to most. And he's burdened with the idea of having to bring people together to save certain worlds. Does that mean I think Reed Richards' home world was destroyed by an incursion? And the Fantastic Four that we met, it's very possible. We do see them in the post-credit scene for the Thunderbolts, the new Avengers, and that post-credit scene is the Fantastic Four ship coming into orbit. Who knows? Maybe Doom is aboard. Maybe Doom knows about incursions, and in the post-credit scene for Fantastic Four, he shows up at the living headquarters, the Baxter Building, talking to young Franklin. I mean, that is a little weird in that of itself. But maybe he's coming to warn the Fantastic Four what's about to happen. And instead of fighting off another universe, in this case, they just escape just in time and sadly leave their universe to die, which is why they would be teaming up with the Avengers so quickly so they can actually learn how to stop these things and prevent more of this from happening, because they'll probably feel a failure on their end if their universe is destroyed and there was nothing they could really do about it. They'd be outnumbered against the X-Men or whatever lies on the Earth that they're colliding with. So yes, I'm theorizing that the Earth of the Fantastic Four is to be destroyed. And the theory on top of that is Dr. Doom is from that world as well. And that they're going to work together to leave their universe and go into the multiverse and try and come up with a solution rather than letting this happen over and over again. Maybe even optimistic to a point where they could bring their world back. I don't know how they do that, but if anyone could theorize a way to do it, it's Reed Richards. Nothing's impossible in Marvel, but that does sound pretty damn near impossible. And they're not going to give us that option right away. If it is true, they're going to keep the stakes high by once a universe is gone, it is gone. I really like that Avengers Tower is Avengers Tower again. And I wonder if we're going to be seeing some of the conflict that we heard in the post-credit scene for Thunderbolts about Sam Wilson not wanting the new Avengers to be called or unify as the new Avengers. When in the trailer, it looks kind of like Sam Wilson has Ant-Man and the other Falcon, the new Falcon, Torres. And that's make me wonder if there's people CGI'd out of that moment. I'm going to be fully honest with you. I think there's a ton of those moments in this trailer. By the way, got my pre-sale tickets yesterday with TJ TJ got them in advance for us, and half the theaters are already sold out. I mean, this is going to be monumentally huge. I'm saying the word monument a lot. It's going to be huge. It's going to be so big, this movie. I think it's going to topple box office records. And this trailer did a great job of anticipating and giving everyone that moment of, oh, it's finally here. It's on we're on the dawn of Doomsday. Even before Spider-Man's coming out, they had to get, some of this hype out of the way. And who knows what Spider-Man will reveal about the greater story. Maybe the post-credit scenes will get something else for Doomsday. So we hear Thor saying, I fought with many warriors in my time, and we see the Fantastic Four, accompanied by Thor, I like how that rhymes, walking through what looks to be a ship, but it's meant to look like they're walking right up to Bucky, Sam, and Ant-Man Scott. They're far stronger than any of us put together, Thor is telling the group. And we do see the whole group actually standing together in one shot, which actually can give me a little bit of hope that these teams are going to come together. We never see them standing with the X-Men, which I think is very telling. I really do think that the X-Men are going to be pit against this universe, and the 616 might be their like fifth or sixth incursion that they've dealt with. And after being so exhausted, they are probably just mindlessly doing this to save their universe over and over again. But then the real Avengers are here, our Avengers, and they're a threat to be. Well, they are a threat to be reckoned with. They are a powerhouse universe, 616. It's the main timeline, technically. So when the X-Men universe starts to collide with this one, they're faced with an unthinkable task because this is the hardest group that they've ever had to fight. But more importantly, the 616 heroes, it's an unthinkable task because they've never had to kill a bunch of people on an entire planet just to save their own planet. That is the unthinkable. That is the villain. That is the story. Thor mentions that the warriors he's fought with that are stronger than all of us put together died. Quick shot of Shuri, Namor, and M'Baku having a very important and very serious meeting. If you look in the background of these shots, it almost looks as if the water is lifted from the ground and they are able to walk on the ocean floor. That is a power apparently that Namor has had, or I don't know. I didn't know he could split the ocean like that. Back to Thor explaining how these threats that scared him and took apart his friends, and the sides that have lost scared him far less than the threat that's at hand. It's not talking about Doctor Doom yet. He doesn't name drop Doctor Doom. And in this exact shot, it nods to Thor jumping into battle with Doctor Doom. We see the staircase look like the Sanctum Sanctorum at first, Doctor Strange's home, but I actually think it's the X-Men headquarters, the school, because after that shot, we see Gambit, Channing Tatum return, fighting Shang-Chi. And oh my goodness, finally we get to see Shang again. And I think he is just one of the coolest heroes. I'm so glad they didn't just leave him fully on the back burner, making us wonder, where the heck is he for this? He's an Avenger now, and we get to see a little tiny bit of action with him in the trailer to confirm, yes, Shang-Chi is back, and I don't think he's going anywhere, personally. That's a whole other episode. We get a quick shot of Loki, and it's very quick. And he's also wearing kind of his TVA uniform and not the green, godlike protector of time clothes he was wearing at the end of the series of Loki. However, this may not even be in the movie. There's a nod to Loki being in it. That's all the trailer needs. But then it's supposedly Loki, but it's someone holding a card that shows Loki's face, and on the back of that card it shows the multiversal tree. So we know Loki's going to be involved. I don't know if Loki even knows about incursions because he's holding the whole multiverse together. Maybe Loki looks at incursions like these are going to happen if we have the multiverse in general. Or maybe it's something that Loki is burdened with once he realizes and has been sitting there long enough that there are so many people dying because of the multiverse, and it's an unforeseen threat to Loki. Thus, maybe even Loki is working with Doctor Doom on this somehow. We get Grimm shaking hands with M'Baku and the Wakandans meeting what seems to be the new Avengers, but I see Torres there too. So I think Falcon and Torres and the new Avengers, whoever else Sam has recruited, I think they put their differences aside, hopefully earlier on in the movie once the threat becomes known, that it's no time to bicker about who the Avengers are. We are Avengers. Like they all have to be Avengers today, right? Under Thor's speech that pretty much goes over the whole trailer, we see a clip of Yelena going up against Mystique, a very cool fight, and she turns right into Yelena, and it's a Yelena versus Yelena / Mystique fight, and I think that's really sick. And I don't know what they're doing to Mystique's face here. I don't know what all those markings are on her, which tells me maybe it's just a different X-Men universe. There are so many different versions of the Fox X-Men universe, variant universes, and this is just maybe one that we haven't seen where certain things didn't happen in those movies to keep other characters alive, like secretly Jean Grey, especially. Thor goes on to say everything that they sacrificed would be for nothing, referring to the heroes that died to threats much less than the one they're facing. And he goes on to say, if we do not stand together and put aside our petty squabbles and presume nothing except this, if you return, you will return as brothers and sisters. We get the shot of Xavier comforting Magneto, a shot that we've seen in the previous short trailers. This tells me that this scene is incredibly important. It shows me that these two characters have been going through it. And for the love of God, I heard this mentioned on Screen Crush's video yesterday. How many times are we going to have to see Charles Xavier die? Somebody get this man a reboot card or something. I can't bear to see Professor X die again. We've seen him die so many times, and I don't know if he's going to make it out of this one either. I think the surprise would be that he does make it. I think the surprise could be that instead of just destroying the world with all the people on it, we bring in overpopulation and bring in as many people to our world before the other world gets destroyed. And then we have, a situation where we're overpopulated, but we saved what we could from that world. And that's what kind of sounds like the Avengers way of doing it. And I think Dr. Doom would probably have a different stance on that personally. I think it'll just cause another problem. I mean, I'm thinking that even if they try and save people, and saving people isn't an option, which is why I keep coming back to that word that he uses, unthinkable. We must do the unthinkable. Get some shots of the heroes embracing each other. We see Scott with his daughter Cassie giving her a big hug. We see Johnny from the Fantastic Four hugging what looks to be like Sue, his sister. I mean, I think every hero and character is possibly going to lose in this movie. There's not going to be a lot of wins for the heroes because Thor is saying we're going to need a freaking miracle to do this. Mark my words. And that is scary coming from Thor. Thor, who is honestly unshaken by most everything we've seen in the MCU, even Thanos. He wasn't afraid of Thanos. He was shook up. He was completely traumatized by him, but he wouldn't admit head on that Thanos was that big of a threat. I think that's great character development from Thor. I think Thanos changed him, and I think the fear he is trying to, inform his fellow Avengers or whoever he's talking to, it's coming from a place of, look, I've been through a lot. You got to trust me. This one's bad. We can't fight about the name of the Avengers and who has what. We got to come together, and we need all hands on deck here. We see Gambit throwing his staff down. We see a clip of Sam Wilson about to face someone down, Captain America himself. And we see Scott, a.k.a. Cyclops, just in that shot that they showed us in the other trailer of him ripping his mask off and just going crazy with his eye powers. It's exploding, similar to the X-Men 97 intro where he rips off his glasses and the rays go everywhere. Shots of Sue Storm using her powers. Shots of Namor doing something. Very just character introductory shots, but they're all in action in these moments, followed by the big one, the one I made almost the whole reaction on yesterday, was Thor bringing the Stormbreaker down to Doom in a very mirrored parallel way, like he brought it down to Thanos. I mean, he threw it to Thanos and he's holding it when he's going to Doom, and we don't see the same thing happen. We see Thor get completely one-upped, and all Doom needs is 2 fingers to hold Thor back and all of Thor's power, which is why my least favorite prediction is Thor might not make it out of this movie. But the fact that this trailer, it seems to be trying to tell us that, might be a false flag, and it might be a mislead. And this whole scene could be completely made up to tell the story of the trailer that they're trying to tell, when in the real movie, Doctor Doom is a part of the group, because he's not just a guy trying to stop people from stopping incursions. He is a guy most likely trying to stop incursions to save something or to bring something back, or with an ulterior motive to pit the heroes against each other and the worlds against each other so he can rule what's left after all the madness. Final shot of this trailer. It's not possible. We see Thor looking shocked at someone who appears to be Steve Rogers. Hey, pal. It sounds just like Steve. I mean, it's one line, but definitely something Steve would say. And he takes the hammer from Thor's hand. Now, I don't know if this is a mislead or whatnot, but here's where Paul from Heavy Spoilers, the theory I'm seeing in his video right to the right of the trailer right now in the thumbnail, is Steve is really evil. And it is, from the comics, Captain Hydra. So if this is that case, why would he be able to hold the hammer? Well, one, maybe he has some manipulative powers given to him by Doctor Doom or elsewhere that lets him use the hammer and believe he's worthy. Maybe he even tricks the hammer and thinking he is the real Steve. I don't know, but if that's the case and Steve is like a spy on the inside this whole time, an antagonist, man, that would hurt. It would be a gut punch, but it would also be pretty freaking badass. Either way, if Steve's back just helping with Mjolnir, that'd be pretty cool. But this may be a huge mislead. And again, the Russo brothers have altered complete shots. My favorite one to bring up is Infinity War, where we see Hulk running with the Avengers in the forests at Wakanda. That shot never happens. It happens, but in a different way, on an open field, and the Hulkbuster is there. So we don't know. We don't know what is true and what isn't. We know what we see, and we believe what we see, but we can theorize based off of what they've done to trailers before and what they really want us to know, which is nothing. They want us to sit in those seats and be completely floored so they can have another iconic Avengers movie. And I'll say it one more time here. If they weren't confident, they would have put Robert Downey Jr.'s face in the trailer. If they weren't confident. They didn't. They used one line of dialogue, and they were very reserved on how they used Doctor Doom in this trailer. Did they show him? Heck yeah. But we don't know much about him. Could this movie play out just as it's being hinted in this trailer? Yes. Could be pretty straightforward. Steve comes back. The Avengers unite. All the good guys unite. And they all even team up with the X-Men to fight Doctor Doom in this first movie of what may be a trilogy. Rumored Secret Wars Part 1 and 2, but we don't know that for sure yet. So this is one of 2 movies for now. I think we really do need that trilogy for the story that it seems like they're trying to tell. It's an ambitious story. There's a lot at play here. There needs to be a ton of fan service on top of a fantastic story, and not too much fan service to the point where the movie just feels like fan service, the movie. So I'm all hyped up in a bunch of different directions right now. You know, we get the trailer saying, you know, it's Doomsday on the 18th, and we get that timer. That timer is eerie because something big's going to happen. The theme song of this, you know, it's huge. It all feels very, very doomed. Exactly that. So why would I think that Dr. Doom is a good guy? I don't think he's technically a good guy. I think he's an anti-hero. And I think he may be the one, by saving all of the universes or whatever he's doing to create his own sacred timeline. As my friend Dustin predicted, he wants to rule his sacred timeline, kind of wipe out the Council of Kings. If we even get to see that happen, I would be happy to see that happen. And the way Thor went up against Doom shows how powerful Doom is. He could probably wipe out the Council of Kings in one fall swoop. I would just like to see that for continuity, personally. But overall, all I could say is if they're making a trailer like this, I think they're on track to making one of the best movies we've seen in the MCU, let alone maybe the best Avengers movie. Or it could let everybody down, and I'll be wildly, overly optimistic about it. That's what I do. When things go bad, I usually try and double down on what was good about it, because there's never something just fully bad. Thor: Dark World was a decent movie. I won't die on that, but I will say it. I'll say it one more time. And I like how Thor goes from being a little bit goofy in his own movie to being a lot more serious in this one. He almost looks like Infinity War Thor, but with bigger muscles. I mean, this man is jacked. Thor is such a cool character. The fact that he's been here this whole time, that is such a win. And that's another reason why I think they're going to rip him away from us in this movie as a leader, as a show of the most powerful hero they have on their side, him foreshadowing his own death in his speech about seeing greater warriors fall to lesser threats. And that would hurt. I mean, we can't see Loki die again at the beginning of the freaking movie like an Infinity War. Loki's going to be in the background pulling strings, maybe projecting himself across the multiverse while holding the multiverse, because he has that power where he can duplicate. My idea is Dr. Doom will be recruiting and going around different places and telling different heroes what's going on. He could be in the X-Men universe, being the one telling them they need to rally and fight the other Earth, because maybe that Earth is the problem, and that's our Earth is the one that created the whole incursions scenario, and they're spiraling into more and more incursions. So yeah, Dr. Doom might not be a full-on protagonist. He might just be an aid to the X-Men and leading them to go and destroy these other worlds, because that's the man with the answer is Dr. Doom. Ooh, I got the chills just thinking about this movie. I cannot wait until December. Oh my God. There's a lot more that can be said, but we're going to leave it here today. I can tangent on this for another hour, and it's all speculation, but we did go over a lot of the big moments of the trailer, if not all of them, and I want to know what you think. marvelmaniacpod@gmail.com, or if you're in the YouTube video of this, leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this theory that I have that Dr. Doom might not be such a bad guy, or what his real motives are in this, because they're very unclear. The final prediction is what's going on with all the kids. Steve Rogers has a kid. Thor has a kid named Love. Franklin Richards. You know, it could be Doom is trying to also go around taking these powerful babies like Infinity Stones and using them to open up a new world or something like that. I don't know what he'd be doing, but there is a through line there that's kind of hard to ignore. And I do think that will play some sort of a factor in riling up and getting all the heroes to throw their jackets and their superhero suits on and to figure out what the hell's really going on here. This is my call to action to you, heroes. I need you to rate this show, give it 5 stars, give it a thumbs up, especially if you're on Apple or anywhere with a review page. Give it a review. I know you're there and you're silent and you may not feel like your review will make a difference. For me, it will make a world of difference. I've been doing this podcast for almost 6 years, 5.5 to be exact. And I'd like to reach a bigger audience. And if you like what I'm doing, support me by leaving a review on any of the podcast platforms. It would mean the world. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. We have a lot to think about. We will have more episodes similar to this going in. If there's a second trailer, I don't think there will be, but there could be very close to the release. We'll keep talking about that. We're going to talk a little bit more about Spider-Man before Brand New Day as well. And Brand New Day is right around the corner. It is, like I've said recently, a really great time to be a fan of the MCU and Marvel. And that's all I got for you today. Thank you for listening. And until next, this is Eric Cicada, aka Mr. Honest. And until next time, Avengers, disassemble.